How you doing, everybody? Welcome back to Stand Focus for Jesus. Hope each and every one of you are having a blessed day in the Lord Jesus Christ as always. Let's go ahead and get into it because I have a lot to cover. Y'all know how we do. We lay the foundation and then we build upon that. The title of the video was probably something on the lines of why the state of Israel cannot defeat Iran. Why the state of Israel cannot and will not be able to defeat Iran. Before I do that, I want to touch on the other reasons why I cannot listen to most Gentile pastors anymore. I got a sermon on that. You can go check it out. I want to make sure I say this too. It's not just Gentile pastors. It's most pastors. But unto them which are called, both Jews and Greeks, Christ the power of God and the wisdom of God. Because the foolishness of God is wiser than men, and the weakness of God is stronger than men. For ye see your calling, brethren, how that not many wise men after the flesh, not many mighty, not many noble are called. But God hath chosen the foolish things of the world to confound the wise. And God hath chosen the weak things of the world to confound the things which are mighty. And base things of the world and things which are despised have God chosen, yea, and things which are not, to bring to naught things that are, that no flesh should glory in his presence. Let's read that first scripture one more time. But unto them which are called, both Jews and Greeks, Christ the power of God. This is what it boils down to. They're not speaking with power. They're not speaking with power. That was 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verses 24 through 29. Now we hit Job 35:16. Therefore doth Job open his mouth in vain. He multiplied words without knowledge. Now Job was going back and forth with his friends. They were saying this about Job. God later on addresses Job and basically says the same thing. The point I'm making with this is people can open their mouth in vain. Just because they're opening their mouth doesn't mean that there's wisdom behind it. My wife would tell you that's one of the main things. There's two things that upset me. A dirty kitchen, because I do so much cooking. I just don't like my kitchen or my house dirty like that because I had a cleaning service, so it's a little bit different. And her or anybody speaking to me without wisdom. Don't just talk to me with stupid, vain words because it's going to upset me, especially if you profess to be a believer. Then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind and said, who is this that darkeneth counsel by words without knowledge? When you are speaking words without knowledge, you are darkening the counsel. That means you're going against what God said to do, because he said you are the light. If you are the light, then you are bringing the light of the counsel of God. You're bringing forth the knowledge. You're bringing forth the wisdom. You're bringing forth the understanding, because so people's souls and their spirit can be lightened up with the light of God. You see what I'm saying? So this is God answering Job and saying, hey, who is this that darkeneth counsel by words without knowledge? Gird up now thy loins like a man. Now you have to understand the context of this. When the Lord is saying gird your loins up like a man, he's saying stand up like a man, answer me as a man. You were talking like a man, like you know what's going on, like you had big balls. Don't act like no bee. This is basically what he's saying. Gird your loins up like a man. Don't act like no bee. And answer my questions. For I will demand of thee, and answer thou me. Where was thou when I laid the foundation of the earth? Declare if thou hast understanding. That's Job chapter 38, verses 1 through 4. Now the end of the commandment is charity out of a pure heart, and of a good conscience, and of faith unfeigned, from which some having swerved have turned aside unto vain jangling, desiring to be teachers of the law, understanding neither what they say nor whereof they affirm. So they affirm it. Thus said the Lord. God said it. Yeah, God did say it. If I'm sitting here reading to you scriptures, I can say God said, because God did say it. But it doesn't mean that I have the understanding or the knowledge or the wisdom of what is being said. People that don't know, of course you're going to think what that person is saying is right, because you don't know. You don't know. If you are taught certain things, for example, we can use this example because we all went through this. In school, we were taught what we were taught. We thought a lot of stuff that we were being taught was right. Why? Because we didn't know. So we like respect the teacher, this and that. Some of us like, oh no, my mom or my daddy taught me better than that, or my uncle, whoever. Like that's bull jive. But for the most part, what we were taught in school, we was thinking that it was right. And then we got older and said, hold on now. They were teaching about slavery, like our history just started with slavery. What happened before that? You see what I'm saying? We didn't know any better. We didn't know any better. So we just, went with what was being told. And these people were desiring to be teachers of the law. I'm talking about in the context of scripture, but I'm also talking about in school. They're teaching these different things. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. So they are desiring to be teachers of the law, teachers of the Bible. Whether it's Old Testament, New Testament, right? We're talking about the law of Moses. We're talking about the law of faith, the law of the Spirit, the law of love, right? They don't understand what they are saying, nor what they affirm. But we know that the law is good if a man use it lawfully, knowing this, that the law is not made for a righteous man, but for the lawless and disobedient, for the ungodly and for sinners, for unholy and profane, for murderers of fathers and murderers of mother, for manslayers, for whoremongers, for them that defile themselves with mankind, for men stealers, for liars, for perjured persons, and if there be anything that is contrary to sound doctrine, according to the glorious gospel of the blessed God, which is committed to my trust. According to what? To the glorious gospel. Because the gospel is the fulfillment of all the law. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. Which is what? To love the Lord your God, all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and to love your neighbor, you love yourself. That's 1 Timothy chapter 1, verses 5 through 11. Let's get Colossians chapter 2, verse 8. Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Christ. The word spoil means to carry off booty or to seduce. This is, booty deals with the spoils of war. This is why, as men, oh man, the booty. She got the booty, because men go forth and they want to conquer. Men go forth and they want to conquer women. The problem is we go about conquering women the wrong way. It also means to carry one off as a captive and slave. Beware lest any man carry you off as a captive and slave through what? Through philosophy and vain deceit. It also means to lead away from the truth and subject to one's sway. Now, when we look at the word philosophy, it means love of wisdom. You may say, well, didn't God say? We're going to get to that. So let's input this wisdom so we can understand it. Beware lest any man carry you off as a captive and slave through the love of wisdom and vain deceit. So their wisdom isn't really wisdom. It's wisdom, but it's not the wisdom of God. It's not necessarily coming from God. It's not rooted and grounded in God. It's vanity. It's to deceive you and to lead you to worship false gods. It's not powerful. It's deceitful. Now, when we look at the word philosophy, it says, use either of zeal for or skill in any art or science, any branch of knowledge. Used once in the New Testament of the theology, or rather, theosophy. You know why I pronounce it? I'm gonna skip over it. I'm gonna spell it Theosophy. I can't pronounce it right now. That's how it is sometimes. Of certain Jewish Christian places, which busy itself with refined and speculative inquiries into the nature and classes of angels, into the ritual of the Mosaic law and the regulations of Jewish tradition respecting practical life. Now, again, you're probably thinking, I thought God said to get wisdom. Well, he did. He said, get wisdom, get understanding, forget it not, neither decline from the words of my mouth. We want the wisdom from God. Remember what we read earlier about God take the foolish things to confound the wise. Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom. And with all thy getting, get understanding. How much better is it to get wisdom than gold, and to get understanding rather to be chosen than silver. So we see that God did say to get wisdom. But in the context of Colossians chapter 2, verse number 8, we see it's not a good thing. We see it's not a good thing in the sense of their love of wisdom supersedes their love of God. They love wisdom more than they love God. I commune with mine own heart, saying, Lo, I am come to great estate, and have gotten more wisdom than all they that have been before me in Jerusalem. Yea, my heart had great experience of wisdom and knowledge. This is Solomon, right? This is Solomon. And I gave my heart to know wisdom and to know madness and folly. I perceive that this also is vexation of spirit. For in much wisdom is much grief. And he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. He that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. So we know that rather it's just you learning something, or rather it is through the revelation of the Spirit. There's a level of sorrow that comes along with it because you realize how stupid people are. You realize how stupid people are. But what happens is the people that love wisdom in the sense of using it for vain deceit, they say, man, people are really stupid. So I'm going to use their stupidity against them, and I'm going to use it in the form of vain deceit to deceive them, to get what I want. Now let's jump over to Acts chapter 17, verses 16 through 20. Now while Paul waited for them at Athens, his spirit was stirred up in him when he saw the city was wholly given to idolatry. Therefore disputed he in the synagogue with the Jews and with the devout persons, and in the market daily with them that met with him. Then certain philosophers of the Epicureans and of the Stoics encountered him. And some said, what will this babbler say? So what he was saying, they saw as babble, right? They didn't see it as wisdom. Others, some, he seemed to be a setter forth of strange gods, because he preached unto them Jesus and the resurrection. And they took him and brought him unto Areopagus, saying, May we know what this new doctrine whereof thou speakest is? For thou bringest certain strange things to our ears. We would know, therefore, what these things mean. Now, the Epicureanism was a philosophical school founded by Epicurus in Athens around 307 BCE. Now, these are the main tenets of Epicureanism. You have atomism, the belief that the universe is composed of indivisible atoms and void. Materialism, the view that everything is made of matter, rejecting the supernatural. So you may say, okay, yeah, that's right, but there's certain things like, come on, man. So again, materialism, the view that everything is made of rejecting the supernatural. So when we talk about all that materialistic, all they care about is the flesh. All they care about is what they can see. They're not worried about the supernatural, they're not studying the supernatural. And then you got the other side where people are so into the supernatural that they get into worshiping false gods and demons and stuff, right? Then you got hedonism, the idea that pleasure is the highest good and should be pursued. Emphasis on achieving happiness and tranquility through simple living and freedom from fear and anxiety. Who doesn't want that, right? But what is the root of their beliefs? The root of their beliefs is dealing with the spirit, right? Then you have the pursuit of moderate pleasures and avoidance of pain, valuing friendship and community, avoiding politics and public life, rejecting fear of gods and death. But they didn't believe in the resurrection, though. Epicureanism denied divine providence and intervention in human affairs. The gods were believed to exist, but not be concerned with humans. And we know that's not true. They are concerned with us. Epicureanism became one of the major philosophical schools in the Hellenistic and Roman periods, competing with Stoicism and other philosophies. Epicureanism influenced later philosophers and thinkers, though it declined after the rise of, what we call Christianity. Now, let's get the scriptures that go with that. We're going to hit 2 Peter chapter 2, verses 10 through 19 first. But chiefly them that walk after the flesh in the lust of uncleanness and despise government. Presumptuous are they, self-willed. They are not afraid to speak evil of dignities. Whereas angels, which are greater in power and might, bring not rarely accusation against them before the Lord. People that believe in Epicureanism and they all in the philosophy, they don't rock with that. They don't rock with that. But these, as natural brute beasts, made to be taken and destroyed, speak evil of the things that they understand not, and shall utterly perish in their own corruption. What they do, they speak evil of things that they understand not. They have wisdom, but they don't have the wisdom of God, because they don't want the wisdom of God. And shall receive the reward of unrighteousness, as they that count it pleasure to ride in the daytime. Spots they are and blemishes, sporting themselves with their own deceivings while they feast with you, having eyes full of adultery, and that cannot cease from sin. All these pleasures and stuff, right? Beguiling unstable souls through their vain deceit, through their philosophy, through their wisdom, their love of wisdom. In the heart they have exiled with covetous practices, cursed children which have forsaken the right way and are gone astray, following the way of Balaam the son of Besor, who loved the wages of unrighteousness, but was rebuked for his iniquity. The dumb ass, speaking with man's voice, forbade the madness of the prophet. These are wells without water, clouds that are carried with a tempest, to whom the midst of darkness is reserved forever. For when they speak great swelling words of vanity, they allure through the lust of the flesh, through much wantonness. Those that were clean escape from them who live in error, while they promise them liberty. This wisdom we're going to give you, you're going to make you free, right? They themselves are the servants of corruption, for of whom a man is overcome, of the same as he brought in bondage. So if you're believing what they're saying, and you are bought into their deceit, their vain deceit, now you are under their bondage and they are in bondage. So you're not really free. Jude 1, verses 14 through 16. And Enoch also, the seventh from Adam, prophesied of these, saying, Behold, the Lord cometh with 10,000s of his saints, to execute judgment upon all, and to convince all that are ungodly among them of all their ungodly deeds, which they have ungodly committed, and of all their hard speeches, which ungodly sinners have spoken against him. These are murmurers, complainers, walking after their own lusts, and their mouth speaketh great swelling words, having men's persons in admiration because of advantage. Now, let's touch on that last part, having men's persons in admiration because of advantage, so you can get a better understanding of that. Having men's persons in admiration because of advantage means to excessively flatter or praise someone solely to gain personal benefit from them, essentially using admiration as a tool to manipulate or exploit their position for one's own advantage. It implies a self-serving motive behind the praise, not genuine respect. That's why I tell you, don't come over with that bull job, because I will call you out. I'll call you out. You can't heap praise on me and then think you're going to use it to try to sway me to do something. It's not going to work. I can see it from a mile. I can smell it from a mile, because I'm sitting on the wall, watching them on the wall, right? It describes people who use big, empty words to manipulate others for their own gain. This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. Men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God. And then what? Having a form of godliness. They have some type of wisdom. They can speak this, they can speak that. But what? But denying the power thereof. From such turn away. For this sort are they which creep into houses and lead captive silly women laden with sins, led away with diverse lusts, ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth. Ever learning. They have all this wisdom, but they still can't come to the truth of the word of God. They still can't come to the truth of God, because wisdom points you back to God. Wisdom points you back to the scriptures. Wisdom points you back to the gospel. Scientists are seeing it. They don't want to admit it. They don't want to accept it. But science proves God even more and more and more and more and more and more. God is telling you to turn away from them. And also, they have a form of what? Of godliness, but denying the power thereof. They don't have power. That's why I can't listen to a lot of people. They don't have any power. They're powerless. I'm like, you don't have the Spirit of God. You speaking good. What you're saying sounds good. But where's the power? Luke chapter 4, verse 32. And they were astonished at his doctrine, for his word was with power. His wisdom was with power. You see that? Matthew chapter 7, verses 28 and 29. And it came to pass, when Jesus had ended these sayings, the people were astonished at his doctrine, for he taught them as one having authority, and not as the scribe. Remember, the scribe and the Pharisees, they just taught with wisdom. They taught with wisdom. We just read. They taught for vain reasons, but it was not with power. 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verses 4 and 5. And my speech and my preaching was not with enticing words of man's wisdom, but in demonstration of the Spirit and of power, that your faith should not stand in the wisdom of men, but in the power of God. You preach with power because I want you to stand in power. I preach in power because I want you to stand in power. Not in the wisdom of man, or, in my wisdom, which is, what wisdom do I really have as a man in comparison to God? 1 Thessalonians chapter 1, verse number 5. For our gospel came not unto you in word only, but also in power. We just didn't give you wisdom. We brought the power with it. These folks don't have power. And that's what I'm seeing. And in the Holy Ghost, and in much assurance, as ye know what manner of men we were among you for your sake. Titus chapter 2, verse number 15. These things speak and exhort and rebuke with all authority. Rebuke. Oh, you're rebuking me? Yes, I'm rebuking you with authority. Let no man despise thee. Hebrews chapter 4, verse number 12. For the word of God is quick and powerful. Y'all quote the scripture, but do you believe it? And sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the dividing asunder of soul and spirit, and of the joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart. Brother King, how you be knowing certain things? And the word of God is a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart. And plus, I have the gift of discernment already. You some people have to grow in this stuff, and some people just, God gives them that gift, and then it's easier for them to grow. That's me when it comes to discernment. I was already given the gift of discernment, and then as I grew in the Word of God, the gift, it was, how do I put it? I think y'all understand what I'm saying. It's like a person that's just naturally gifted at sports. Some people are naturally gifted and they're naturally athletic. So when they go forth and they play sports and they really put the effort in, it's like they really killing it because they've already been blessed with it. And you have other people, they're not naturally gifted at sports, but they put the work in, they can still, get to that high level. So when I try to listen to certain sermons and preachers, I can only listen to them for a little because they are speaking with no power. They are speaking without the power of the Holy Spirit. They are speaking strictly with wisdom. On the flip side, when you are speaking with real power, it offends and runs people off. John chapter 16, verse 13. Howbeit, when he, the Spirit of truth, is come, he will guide you into all truth. For he shall not speak of himself, but whatsoever he shall hear, that shall he speak, and he will show you things to come. When these pastors are giving the breakdown of Bible prophecy, they always lead people astray because they are the blind leading the blind. They have wisdom, but their wisdom is not rooted and grounded in the Most High. If they did, they would understand simple things like tithing, law, the grace, etc., etc., etc. And so that leads us back to the original title of this video. They have wisdom, but they don't have the wisdom of God. You can only go so far. This is why they are causing so much confusion. This is why they don't understand certain things. They don't understand that the people that's over there in the land is not the people, which is, it throws off the whole, what they call eschatology. And then you have those that know who we are, the people, but then they got other things wrong, and it throws everything off. You have to be led by the Spirit. You have to be led by the power. A teacher has power, right? You go to a classroom, you go, because you think about this, when you go to school, that's power, because you got to get up, brush your teeth, wash your face, take a shower, use the bathroom, so on and so on and so on. And then you have to travel to go sit in their school for a certain amount of time, which is, we're going to say 8 hours of your life. It could be more. Every single day you doing it. That's power. You get up, you do the same thing, you go to work. That's power. You're going to get up and you're going to come to work. You're going to get up every single day for the next 40, 50 years, and you're going to come to my job. That's power, right? You see what I'm saying? So, a teacher has power. If a teacher has power in this world, then what does that say about the Holy Spirit? The Holy Spirit definitely has more power, right? The Spirit of truth. He will guide you into all truth. He will guide you, notice that he will guide you into all truth. So, they don't understand these things because they don't have the power of God. Now, the first thing we want to address about why the state of Israel can never defeat Iran is because the state of Israel is not the people of the Bible. We know that. You can agree with it or not. But we're going to get some scriptures, though, because, I'm fair in my judgment. We go to Revelation 2:9 and Revelation 3:9. I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee. When people tell you there is nothing to argue about, it doesn't matter, even though it doesn't matter seems to only apply when we say we are the physical Jews, or you're causing division and all these other things people say, the scriptures have found them to be liars. It is something to argue about and fight about. It does matter. We are causing division because truth is divided against lies, and Christ clearly prophesied and said there would be people claiming to be Jews but are not. Now, like I said, I'm fair in my judgment. It could be very well us. We're claiming to be the Jews of the Bible, physical and spiritual, right? We are claiming to be the people. So if we are not the people, that would make us the synagogue of Satan. But on the flip side, if we are the people, then what does that tell you? The people over there in the land would be the synagogue of Satan. Suppose ye that I am come to give peace on earth, I tell you, nay, but rather division. For from henceforth there shall be 5 in one house divided. 5 in one house divided. 3 against 2, and 2 against 3. The father shall be divided against the son, and the son against the father, the mother against the daughter, and the daughter against the mother, the mother-in-law against her daughter-in-law, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. Luke chapter 12, verses 51 through 53. If he said that your own family was going to be divided against itself because of the gospel, for the sake of the gospel, then what does that mean for people that don't already get along, black and white folks? So, the next point I want to make, which is what we're going to be sticking on most of the time for the rest of the sermon, is the Medes. We have to ask ourselves, who are the Medes in regards to Bible prophecy? Who are the Medes in regards to Bible prophecy? Because once you understand not only who we are as a people, and once you understand who the Medes are as a people, then it starts to make that much more sense. So we're going to go to Daniel chapter 9, verses 1 and 2. In the first year of Darius, the son of Ahasuerus, yeah, I know I ain't good with these names all the time. These some real live black names right here. These crazy names. of the seed of the Medes. So Darius, the son of Ahasuerus, he was of the seed of the Medes, right? Which was made king over the realm of the Chaldeans. We're going to discuss the Chaldeans, the Medes. We're going to discuss the ancient Medes and the modern day Medes. We're going to discuss all that. In the first year of his reign, I, Daniel, understood the books of the number of the years whereof the word of the Lord came to Jeremiah the prophet. So he was understanding what Jeremiah was talking about, right? Because that's how it works. Somebody gives a prophecy, and then somebody comes later, it's a prophet. They understand what somebody said before them, and they also understand what God gives them during that particular point in time. Just like people came before me, the prophets came before me. They wrote the book of Revelation. You know, John the Revelator. He spoke about the mark of the beast, and here I am today, giving the revelation of what the mark of the beast is. So once I'm dead and gone, then the next generation, that will be the time, during the time of Jacob's trouble, those who have listened and heard the word, or however God decides to spread it, they would be like, oh, that's what that dude was talking about. That's what so-and-so was talking about in regard to the mark of the beast and these certain things. So again, in the first year of his reign, I, Daniel, understood by books the number of the years whereof the word of the Lord came to Jeremiah the prophet, that he would accomplish 70 years in the desolations of Jerusalem. Daniel chapter 5, verses 28 through 31. Thy kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and Persians. Then you may say, who's he talking to? Who's he talking about? Then commanded Belshazzar, and they clothed Daniel with scarlet, and put a chain of gold about his neck, and made a proclamation concerning him, that he should be the third ruler in the kingdom. In that night was Belshazzar, the king of the Chaldeans, slain. And Darius the Median took the kingdom, being about 62 years old. So Belshazzar, he was in power, right? After his kinfolk. And the kingdom was divided, and then it was given to the Medes and the Persians. It was given to the who? The Medes and the Persians. The Medes and the Persians, because something happens where the Medes and the Persians, they basically mix to get the people that we have today. Now, you can make an argument about how much they mix. That really ain't the point. But it says the Medes and the Persians. So we have to understand who the Medes are. Most of you understand, you know who the Persians are, right? You know who the Persians are. But we're gonna discuss that a little bit more later on. Because you got Belshazzar, you got Nebuchadnezzar, all these different people, right? Daniel chapter 6, verse number 8. Now, O king, establish the decree and sign the writing, that it be not changed according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which alter not. So you're seeing the Medes and Persians, Medes and Persians, Medes and Persians being mentioned all throughout scriptures together. And that's because, you know, the Persians were basically ruling over the Mede kingdom at this particular point in time. But we also must understand who were the ancient Medes. Who were the ancient Medes? Then we jump down to Daniel chapter 6, verse number 12. Then they came near and spake before the king concerning the king's decree. Hast thou not signed a decree, that every man that shall ask a petition of any god or man within 30 days, save of thee, O king, shall be cast into the den of lions? The king answered and said, the thing is true according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which altereth not. So, you see them being mentioned over and over again, right? Now, the ancient region of Media, where the Medes lived, is located in northwest Iran, or Iran. It corresponds to the modern regions of Azerbaijan, Kurdistan, and parts of Kermanshah. So basically, to keep it simple, today in regards to the land of the Medes, when the Bible talks about the Medes, it is what we know as modern day Iran. While the state of Israel cannot defeat Iran, because Iran is directly mentioned in Bible prophecy in the end times. We talk about in the future. And the other issue is they ain't who they say they is. Because if they were, then they would be able to defeat them, right? But they're not going to be able to defeat them because they are not who they claim to be. So we have an understanding that what we know as the land of the Medes, or the Medes, is modern day Iran. It's modern day Iran. But we got to understand, who is the ancient Medes? Who are the ancient Medes? We want to understand that. So after studying more, I believe when the Bible is referring to the Medes of today, is referring to not only the Iranian people, but Turkish, Iraqi, and Syrians, because these ancient places touch these people today. Because you got the land masses and stuff, and okay, they were ruling over this part and everything, but they end up getting mixed in and stuff like that. So Media, or Media, however you want to say it, or Medes, or Madai, is middle land. Now we know that there's a group of people that the Bible mentions as the Gentiles. And these Gentiles, they mostly was on the Isles, the coastal lands. We got sermons on that. I think we just did one about a week or two ago, right? Well, we broke that down. The original people of this land descended from the son of Japheth, and who inhabited the territory of what we know as Iran. Now the borders and everything, they were different. Of course, we understand that, but originally that was the land of Madai. It was known as the middle land, which makes sense because it was in the middle. It had land above it, and you had land below it. It had land all on the side. It was, right here and right there. It was in the middle. Then you had the coastal lands right here, where the other brothers from the lineage of Japheth were at, and and so on and so on and so on. It also means land inhabited by the descendants of Japheth, located northwest of Persia proper, south and southwest of the Caspian Sea, east of Armenia and Assyria, and west and northwest of the Great Salt Desert of Aram. The original land of what we know as Iran today, and I was saying Aram, the desert of Iran, Iram. But the land that we know today as the land of Iran was actually Gentile land. It was actually Gentile land. So you talk about the Medes, they say, okay, if that's the case, then what's really going on? Remember, it said Medes and Persians. They end up mixing and stuff like that. We're gonna get that. But first, let's go to First Chronicles chapter 1, verse number 5. The sons of Japheth: Gomer and Magog and Madai and Javan and Tubal and Meshach and Tiras. Then we hit 2 Kings chapter 17, verse number 6. In the 9th year, this is very, very interesting. In the 9th year of Hosea, the king of Assyria took Samaria and carried Israel away into Assyria. So this is us going into captivity, right? And placed us in Halah and in Habor by the river of Gozan, and in the cities of the Medes. Now, you can make an argument about, well, who was ruling at a particular point in time. Was it the people that came in later, the ones that was mixing and stuff, or was it the original Medes tracing back to the lineage of Japheth? Remember, the Gentiles were around, but they weren't around like they are today. They was doing their own thing and stuff, but they was still right there, as we see. So the question we must ask ourselves is, how did we get the people of Iran that we have today? How did we get the people of Iran that we have today? Let's go back in history. The Medes arrived in the region of Media, how you want to say it, in the late 2nd millennium BC. They established their own empire in the 6th century BC, which stretched from the Black Sea to Afghanistan and Pakistan. The Medes are credited with establishing the first Iranian Empire. The Medes are credited with establishing the first Iranian Empire. This is why you have all these mixed, people, these, what we call Arabs, the mingled people. Now, Cyrus the Great, he united the Median kingdom with the Persian kingdom, which became known as the, I'm going to try to pronounce it the best I can, the Achaemenid Empire. The Achaemenid Empire. We did a sermon on them. Some of you remember that sermon. Some of you have studied the Achaemenid Empire yourself. I'll read it one more time. Cyrus the Great, who's directly mentioned in the Bible, he united the Median kingdom with the Persian kingdom, which became known as the Achaemenid Empire. Now, we ain't too stupid. I hope you're not, right? When you have two different type of people and you bring them together as one, what happens? They start to intermarry and intermingle and have children and stuff like that. We see that here in America. So this is what happened. Because remember, originally the land belonged to who? Japheth's son Madai, which the name translates to Middle Land, which is the land that we know as the land of Iran today. Then Cyrus the Great, he unites the Median kingdom with the Persian kingdom, which becomes known as the Achaemenid Empire. Now we go to Ezra chapter 1, verses 1 and 2. Now in the first year of Cyrus, king of Persia, that the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah might be fulfilled, the Lord stirred up the spirit of Cyrus, king of Persia, that he made a proclamation throughout all his kingdom, and put it also in writing, saying, Thus saith Cyrus, king of Persia, the Lord God of heaven hath given me all the kingdoms of the earth, and he hath charged me to build him an house at Jerusalem, which is in Judah. The Lord what? The Lord God of heaven hath given me all the kingdoms of the earth, all the known kingdoms, right? Which would include the Median kingdom. Hey, this is mine now. I'm going to put people over here, put people over there. Y'all can go over here. You see what I'm saying? Now we go to Isaiah chapter 45, verse number 1. Thus saith the Lord to his anointed, to Cyrus, whose right hand I have holden, to subdue nations before him, and I will loose the loins of kings, to open before him the two leave gates, and the gates shall not be shut. Daniel chapter 1, verse 21. And Daniel continued even unto the first year of King Cyrus. And then Daniel chapter 6, verse 28. So this Daniel prospered in the reign of Darius and in the reign of Cyrus the Persian. Cyrus was specifically mentioned as a Persian. And you see the Medes and the Persians because the Median Empire was absorbed by the Persian Empire. You also had the Elamites there. We know the Elamites come from Elam, which is from the Shemitic lineage and stuff like that. The immortals. We was in captivity and stuff, right? Now, Zoroastrianism is an ancient monotheistic religion that originated in ancient Persia, which is modern-day Iran. The empire that came after the Achaemenid Empire was the Seleucid Empire. The Seleucid Empire was founded in, they say around 312, 311 BCE by Seleucus Nicator, who was formerly a general in Alexander the Great's army. It emerged following the collapse of Alexander's empire after his death in 323 BCE. The Seleucids claimed the territory of the former Achaemenid Empire during the Hellenistic period. I'm giving you history lesson so you can see how we got to what we got today. So originally it was the land of what? Of Madai, which is the son of Japheth. Then you see the Persians and the Medes, they boom. We're gonna say it right. The Medes basically got absorbed by the Persians. So you got the mixing in and stuff like that. Then you have this Achaemenid Empire. They fall, and it was ruled by Cyrus the Great, who was the king of Persia, and these different people, right? And then package being delivered. So y'all give me I ain't gonna pause this video. So when they pull up, I'm gonna go grab it. Y'all give me a second. Give me a second. Let's see it. Y'all give me a second. Come on with it. Cause if I pause it, I mean I gotta bring the two pieces back together, and I want to go ahead and get this uploaded. Come on, buddy. Let me grab it. Y'all give me a second. Oh, appreciate it. My wife ordered some vitamins. She even said, I hope they don't come while you doing your sermon. Hey, it is what it is. Them folks love that old Jag. Everybody love that old Jag. That's why I really don't want to get rid of it. It's a 96. I ain't paid about $2,500 for it, but let me get back on track. So you have the Achaemenid Empire, which is the combination of the Persian Empire and the Medes Empire. But remember, it's the Persian that's on top. The Persian that's the one that's calling the shots and stuff. And then who's ruling over? You had Cyrus King the Great, and then you had who came after him? Darius, and so on and so on. So after the Achaemenid Empire, you have the Seleucid Empire, right? And then the Seleucids claimed the territory of the former Achaemenid Empire during the Hellenistic period. We know about that, right? It said at its peak, the Seleucid Empire stretched from Bactria and Sogdia in the east of the Aegean coast of Asia Minor in the west, encompassing much of the former Achaemenid territories. The Seleucid Empire lasted from approximately 312 BCE to 63 BCE when it was finally absorbed by the Roman Empire. Are you seeing what's going on? It's a gradual decline, right? You have the Persians, and the Persians, they absorbed the Median Empire. Then from the Median Empire comes the Achaemenid Empire. From the Achaemenid Empire comes the Seleucid Empire, and then from them, they was absorbed by the Roman Empire. And we know what the Roman Empire led to: America. But remember, Cyrus was a Persian. So the Seleucid Empire was a major center of Hellenistic culture, blending Greek customs and language with local traditions across its vast territory. Sound familiar? This is what we're dealing with in America. The major religion of the Seleucid Empire was a combination of Hellenistic polytheism and local religious traditions. Sound familiar? Why? Because when you have a king ruling, it's one religion. This is what they rebelled against when it came to the establishment of America. That's why Morocco and all them, they supported them. Because Islam ain't about worshiping one God. They worship multiple gods. There was a religion before Islam came along. They said, okay, we're going to take this. We're going to take what the Abrahamic faith believes, and we're going to mix it all together and everything. But some of you know that, some of you don't. Some of you know that, some of you don't, right? So Nebuchadnezzar's father was Nabopolassar. Nebuchadnezzar's father was Nabopolassar. Because remember, Nebuchadnezzar is at the top of the Daniel's statue. Nebuchadnezzar at the top, right? He's the head of gold. Well, Nebuchadnezzar had a father. Before Nebuchadnezzar, there was Nabopolassar. Nabopolassar, how you say his name. You may say, what does that have to do with anything? Well, just bear with me, right? Because remember, Cyrus the Great, he's a Persian. Persians, they take over, or they absorb the Median Empire, Achaemenid, Seleucid, the Roman Empire, and so on and so on and so on, leading up to the people in Iran today. So you have all this mixing. So really all of them is really what we call Arabs, right? Historians have variously identified him as Chaldean, Assyrian, or Babylonian. It's really all of them, really, because I keep on going. Genesis chapter 10, verse number 22. The children, now I'm going to go back and read it one more time. Historians have variously identified him Nebuchadnezzar's father, as Chaldean, Assyrian, or Babylonian. So they're like, okay, depending on the source you read, okay, is he Chaldean, is he Assyrian, is he Babylonian? They don't understand. There's only so far they can go. The children of Shem, Elam, where you get the Elamites. We know the Elamites were there under Nebuchadnezzar's rulership, right? Then you have the second son of Shem, which is Ashur. Then you have Arphaxad and Lud and Aram. The second son of Shem is Ashur. Ashur is the progenitor, or the forefather of the Assyrians. The Bible mentions the Antichrist as the Assyrian. So when the Antichrist steps on the scene, he's going to claim to be a Shemite, an Israelite. He's going to make the claim and say, I come from this lineage. I'm a Hebrew. I'm an Israelite. Because there is no Hebrew Israelite without Shem. Is he telling the truth? Yes, but he's manipulating it. He's not telling the whole truth. Now, there is growing evidence that we're going to call him Nabo. We're going to call him Nabo. There's growing evidence that Nabo, which is Nebuchadnezzar's father, Nabo's family may have originated in the city of Uruk, south of Babylon. You may say, Uruk, what's that? How does that sound familiar? Of the Chaldeans. Oh, hold on now. Who else was there? Abraham was there. Okay. Starting to make sense now. Some scholars suggest that he might have been a member of his ruling elite prior to becoming a Babylonian king. Let's go to Ezra chapter 5, verse number 12. But after that our fathers had provoked the God of heaven unto wrath, he had given them into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, the Chaldean, who destroyed this house and carried the people away into Babylon. So the Bible is telling you specifically that Nebuchadnezzar is a Chaldean. Now you may say it's a title or whatever. I don't believe it's just a title. Because go back. Because the scholars are saying that where is it? That Nebuchadnezzar's father is identified as Chaldean, Assyrian, or Babylonian. They're not realizing back in the day it was all the same people. Chaldeans, Assyrians, Babylonians, same people in the sense of same family, being Shemitic. That's what they're not understanding. It'd be like you got the Victoria family, which is on my wife's side. Then you got the McNeil, the King family, which is on my side. We both Hebrews. You just got different names, right? So Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, is known as the Chaldean. Nabo, again, who is Nebuchadnezzar's father, represented himself as a pious man who rose from humble origins to kingship. He described himself as son of a nobody, which is unusual for Mesopotamian kings. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 23, verse 13. Behold, the land of the Chaldeans, this people was not. I want you to really pay attention to this right now. I want you to really pay attention. Maybe you zoned off for a second. I want you to really pay attention to what's about to be said. Behold, the land of the Chaldeans. Because remember, Nebuchadnezzar's father he said that I'm a son of a nobody. I came from humble beginnings. Then Nebuchadnezzar comes. He's like, look, I'm this. Look, I ain't talking what he talking about. I'm that nigga. That's basically what he's saying, right? God humbled him. Boom, boom, boom. So this is what it says. Behold, the land of the Chaldeans. Nebuchadnezzar is the Chaldean, right? This people was not. Remember what his daddy said. I'm a son of a nobody. In the sense of they didn't have the power like they do now. They was amongst their own people. But remember who was there too? Abraham. Again, behold, the land of the Chaldeans. This people was not. Till what? Till the Assyrian founded it for them that dwell in the wilderness. They set up the towers thereof. Say what? Hold on now. I'll read it one more time. Behold, the land of the Chaldeans. This people was not meaning they weren't a people. They weren't a nation. They didn't have the power that they end up having until what? Till the Assyrian founded it for them. Now I'm going to set this up because the Assyrian, we know the Assyrian is, he comes from who? Genesis 10:22. The children of Shem, Elam, and Ashur. From Ashur come the Assyrians. The Assyrians, the Assyrian. So Ashur, he founded it for them. He went in, he set it up for them, and you go see what the Assyrians they worship. They worship false gods too. Shemites. Would you believe me if I told you that even at one point in time, Abraham worshipped false gods? No, that ain't true. That ain't what the Bible tells you. We're going to get to that. So, the Assyrian, he founded it for them, and he set it, and then it says, they set up the towers thereof. Towers, the ziggurats, the pyramids, and stuff like that. I ain't talking about the pyramids that are, the famous ones, but other pyramids and everything. And he gave them knowledge that they were not ready for, they shouldn't have had. When they were building this Tower of Babel, it wasn't we're gonna build it up to heaven. It was dealing with a portal, being able to go in and out of. I'm talking about actual portal. Yeah, what you see on the TV. Yes, that's what it boils down to. That deals with the ladder, Jacob's ladder. Jacob's ladder was a portal. So again, I'll read it one more time. Behold, the land of the Chaldeans. This people was not till the Assyrian founded it for them. So who's the founder of the kingdom of the Chaldeans and everything? The Assyrian. That dwell in the wilderness. They set up the towers thereof. They raised up the palaces thereof. And he brought it to ruin. So he helped them build it up, and then he came in and destroyed. Sound familiar? I wonder why the Bible mentions the Assyrian. The Antichrist is the Assyrian. And the Assyrians, they trace their lineage back to Ashur, who is the second son of Shem, and the Shemites are... Oh! So would that probably mean that the Antichrist is going to be black? What we call black? You tell me. Genesis chapter 10, verses 8 through 12. And Cush begat Nimrod. Because many people believe that Nimrod came in here and he built this up. No, Nimrod, the same thing happened with Nimrod. The Assyrian gave him ancient knowledge, ancient wisdom, ancient understanding in exchange for something. The Assyrian, they was already building stuff up. I'm going to prove it to you. Once again, just like I just proved it to you with the Chaldeans. And Cush begat Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one in the earth. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Lord, and the beginning of his kingdom was Babel. So people say, see, he built that. Oh, keep on reading. And Erech, and Akkad, and Calneh, in the land of Shinar. Now look what it says. Out of that land went forth Ashur, and builded Nineveh. You know that what's his name? Jonah went to Nineveh, right? And the city of Rehoboth, and Calah, and Rezin, between Nineveh and Calah, the same is a great city. Out of that land went forth Ashur. Ashur was already in the land of what we know as Babel, Erech, Akkad, and Calneh. He was already there. Then they came to an agreement, and he said, you know what, I'm going to go over here, I'm going to build up Nineveh, you can do this. The same thing he did with the Chaldeans. So the Assyrian is the one that's really helping all these folks do all this stuff. And the Bible mentions the Antichrist as the Assyrian. And the Assyrians trace their lineage back to Ashur, who was the second son of Shem. And the Shemites are black, ruddy. Genesis chapter 11, verse 27 through 31. Now these are the generations of Terah. Terah begat Abraham, Nahor, and Haran begat Lot. And Haran died before his father Terah in the land of his nativity in Ur of the Chaldees. This is kinfolk. We was right there, they was right there. And Abraham and Nahor took them wives. The name of Abram's wife, was Sarah, and the name of Nahor's wife, Milcah, the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah, and the father of Ishka. But Sarai was barren, she had no child. And Terah took Abram, his son, and Lot, the son of Haran, his son's son, and Sarai, his daughter-in-law, his son Abraham's wife, and they went forth with them from Ur of the Chaldees to go into the land of Canaan, and they came unto Haran and dwelt there. They were worshiping false gods until God called them. And then they had a revelation. The story is the same thing over and over again. How many of us have and were raised to believe something was right, and then all of a sudden it's like, no, this is wrong. We just know, because God speaks to us. The same thing that happened with Abraham. Now we're going to go to Isaiah chapter 13, starting in verse number 1. The burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amoz did see. Lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain, exalt the voice of them, shake the hand, that they may go into the gates of the nobles. I have commanded my sanctified ones. I have also called my mighty ones for mine anger. Overemphasis on anger, right? Even them that rejoice in my highness. The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people. A tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. The Lord of hosts mustereth the hosts of the battle. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even the Lord, and the weapons of his indignation, to do what? To destroy the whole land. Howl ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand. So we got the context, right? We know about the day of the Lord. We know this is talking about. We know this is talking about the judgment, destruction. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt, and they shall be afraid. That's what Jesus said. He said the same thing. He said, men's hearts shall fail them for fear of things coming upon the earth. Right? Pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames. Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, just in case you didn't get the first time, to do what? To lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. Revelation, the breaking of the sixth seal. We covered this 1,000 times. And I will punish the world for their evil and the wicked for their iniquity. And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and I will lay low the hardness of the terrible. I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedges of Ophir. Therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place in the wrath of the Lord of hosts, and in the day of his fierce anger. And it shall be as the chased roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. They shall every man turn to his own people. They shall every man turn to his own people, and flee everyone into his own land. Everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. So you're gonna fight with them during this time period. You're gonna get slaughtered, and if you're, if you're out and you're not in the bunker, then hey, it is what it is. Their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses shall be spoiled, and their wives ravished violently. R-A-P-E, you know the rest. R-A-P-E-D. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them. Now we have established, and everybody that has studied Bible prophecy pretty much knows that what we know as the Medes is modern day Iran. This is talking about destruction, the day of the Lord, the time of Jacob's trouble, right? And he's saying, I'm going to stir the Medes up against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they should not delight in it. So how can the state of Israel destroy Iran when the Bible tells you that he's going to stir the Medes up during the time of Jacob's trouble? In the sermon, we can stop right there. But no, we're going to make sure we complete this house. We don't leave nothing undone. Tomorrow ain't promised for us, right? Read it one more time. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Their bows also shall dash young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. You cannot defeat Iran because Iran plays a major part in Bible prophecy. You cannot defeat the Medes because the Medes play a major part in end times Bible prophecy. And if it's 10 years from now, if it's named something else, it's still the same people, land that he's talking about. God knows what he's doing. And Babylon, which is interesting because it's in that same area. Basically, Babylon is over there in what we call the Middle East. It's interesting because Madai is the middle of the land, and they call it the Middle East, when we know it's not the Middle East. In Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees, excellency, the beauty of who? In Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty. Remember, it's talking about end times, right? We know about Babylon then, but we know prophecies past, present, and future. He's also talking about Babylon in the future. In Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees, excellency. Chaldees, Nebuchadnezzar, they're Shemitic. I'm going to prove it to you even more. Shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian, Saudi Arabia, pitch tent there. Neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. Now, Chaldea or Chaldeans, it means clod breakers or clay breakers. Interesting. Clod breakers, clay breakers. Clay deals with flesh. The original man was Adam, so they want to break Adam. They want to break what God made, because Adam was made in God's image. So they want to break, they want to defeat, they want to fight against God. You see, that's power right there. That's power right there. Chaldea or Chaldees also means a Castite, Kasdite, or descendant of Kesed, Kesed. Sound familiar? Kesed, Kelson. How do I know all this? Because it's family business. It's family business. And God has revealed to me the family business, right? It also is spelled with a C, just like you can spell my name with a C. It could be Kelson or Celson. It's the same thing. It would be pronounced like you have the Boston Celtics. You don't say the Boston Celtics, but you can say the Boston Celtics because it's the Boston Celtics. So it would be Kelton, Kelson, yeah, like that. But it's the same. Hopefully you get the point. So you have Kesed. It's also spelled Chesed, which means to increase. Now you may say, well, who is this? Who is this? Because let me go back. The Chaldeans, they are descendants of Kesed. The Chaldeans are descendants of Kesed. So who is Kesed? You ready? He's the fourth son of Nahor, the nephew of Abraham. The nephew of Abraham. His family. Genesis chapter 22, verses 19 through 22. So Abraham returned unto his young men, and they rose up and went together to Beersheba. And Abraham dwelt at Beersheba. And it came to pass after these things that it was told Abraham, saying, behold, Milcah, remember, we read it earlier, right? She have also borne children unto thy brother Nahor, or Nahor, however you want to say his name. Whose, his firstborn, or Huz, his firstborn, and Buz, his brother, and Kemuel, the father of Aram, and Chesed, and Hazo, and Pildash, and Jidlaph, and Bethuel. You know, these black names, these ancient black names, because good Lord. So these names, I'm like, so this kinfolk, the Chaldeans, how you want to say it, Chaldeans, the kinfolk. Nebuchadnezzar is a Hebrew because he traces his lineage back to Nahor, brother of Abraham. So you have Nebuchadnezzar, this head of gold, and it trickles all the way down until you get to the point of what you have now with America, and so on and so on and so on. Because we were always supposed to be at the head with Christ. Christ is our head now. So you got their establishment, and then you got ours. Christ is our head. He said, buy me gold. Two different families fighting against each other and saying, look, we're going to side with y'all. Gentiles saying, we're going to side with y'all and come against them because we don't want to be under the rulership of Christ. We never want to. Going back to Genesis. Blessed be the Lord God of Shem. Blessed be the Lord God of Shem. And JP like, I don't want anything to do with your God. We're going over here and do our own thing. So again, Nebuchadnezzar is a Hebrew because he traces his lineage back to Nahor, brother of Abraham. Now these are the generations of Terah. Terah begat Abraham, Nahor, and Haran begat Lot. Let's go to Genesis chapter 11, verses 24 through 28. Because I need to break something down, because you may be like, I'm confused about that. And Nahor lived 9 and 20 years and begat Terah. So you may be saying, huh? If Terah begat Nahor, then how could Nahor begat Terah? We're going to break it down. So read it one more time. And Nahor lived 9 and 20 years and begat Terah. And Nahor lived after he begat Terah 119 years and begat sons and daughters. And Terah lived 70 years and begat Abraham, Nahor, and Haran. Now these are the generations of Terah. Terah begat Abraham, Nahor, and Haran begat Lot. And Haran died before his father Terah in the land of his nativity in Ur of the Chaldees. Okay? So Terah, who begat Abraham and Nahor, his father was named Nahor. He just named one of his children after his father. That's what's going on. Don't get confused about that. If you need to pause, you can run it back and you can hear it again. So Abraham and Nahor's grandfather's name is Nahor. Now, I mentioned about Abraham at one point in time worshiping false gods. He did. When he was Abram, but he didn't know any better. Let me give you an example. My wife and I were talking about this earlier. When she was growing up, she was raised Catholic. She didn't have a choice about that until eventually one day the Lord spoke to her and said, "Hey, this is wrong." She went home. It's God my witness. She went home and told her mama, I don't want to do the Catholic stuff anymore. I'm done. I'm not going back." And her mama said, basically, okay. Make a long story short. Where did she get that revelation from? She got the revelation from God because her best friend at the time, she was given the revelation. And then she asked her friend, like, what's going on? Why you ain't, rocking with this no more, basically. And her friend wouldn't tell her. She said, you got to go find out for yourself. You got to go ask God. So she went to ask God, and then God revealed it to her. And then that's when she said she saw the truth about the Catholic Church. She didn't have a choice about that. You see what I'm saying? So my wife, she worshiped false gods. Guess what? I worshiped false gods because I didn't know any better. I was a child. Until eventually the Lord came to me and said, hey, all this is wrong. And then it wasn't like somebody had to tell me. It was like God telling me. And I was like, this is wrong. You can't explain to people. You just, God comes to you and you just know, like, oh, snap. Dang. So going to Joshua 24, verses 1 through 4. And Joshua gathered all the tribes of Israel to Shechem, and called for the elders of Israel, and for the heads, and for their judges, and for their officers, and they presented themselves before God. And Joshua said unto all the people, Thus saith the Lord God of Israel, Your fathers dwelt on the other side of the flood in old time, even Terah, the father of Abraham. So he's making sure, like, hey, even Terah, because y'all, basically he's saying, y'all want to bring him up? Let's bring him up then. Let's bring him up. And, Terah, that's Abraham's father, and he did this. So he's bringing him up for a specific reason. But why? Read it one more time. Thus saith the Lord God of Israel, Your fathers dwelt on the other side of the flood in old time, even Terah. So he's saying, even Terah that y'all are talking about right now. He's specifically mentioning him. The father Abraham. Because y'all won't listen, but I got something for y'all. And the father of Nahor, which is spelled Nachor, but Nahor is the same, they just dropped the C. And they served other gods. Even Abraham's father, he served other gods, which would mean that Abraham, growing up as a child, what he would have done. He would have served other gods too. Ignorantly, but he served other gods. This is what happens when God ain't in the head like he's supposed to be, meaning we don't put him there. And I took your father Abraham from the other side of the flood, and led him throughout all the land of Canaan, and multiplied his seed, and gave him Isaac. And I gave unto Isaac Jacob and Esau, and I gave unto Esau Mount Seir to possess it. But Jacob and the children went down into Egypt. Family. Now, let's go to Genesis 11, verses 10 through 26. We're going to get some breakdowns of this genealogy. These are the generations of Shem. Because I know somebody saying, well, he technically, Nebuchadnezzar wouldn't be a Hebrew because Hebrew comes from Eber. Well, who was the original Hebrew before Eber? It would be Shem. Who would it be before him? Tracing it all the way back. It would be Adam. Who would it be before him? It would be Christ, the original Hebrew, the original Hebrew Israelite. So these are the generations of Shem. Shem was 100 years old and begat Arphaxad 2 years after the flood. And Shem lived after he begat Arphaxad 500 years and begat sons and daughters. And Arphaxad lived 530 years and begat Salah. And Arphaxad lived after he begat Salah 403 years and begat sons and daughters. And Salah lived 30 years and begat Eber. So there is no Eber, which is what most people agree where we get Hebrew from, without Shem. So when we're talking about the Assyrian, who come from Shem, can the Assyrian claim to be a Hebrew? Absolutely. But we know the Shemites are what we call black, which is brown, ruddy. And we know the Elamites, we know these people were black. So, and we know the Hebrews, tracing down to the Hebrew Israelites, are what we call black, brown, ruddy. And the Assyrians come from Ashur, who is the second son of Shem. Then what would that mean? Oh. And Jacob and Esau were twins. But y'all say he's the white man. Oh. So tracing it down, you go all the way down to Eber. Where we at? And Salah lived 30 years and begat Eber. And Salah lived after he begat Eber 403 years and begat sons and daughters. And Eber lived 430 years and begat Peleg. And Eber lived after he begat Peleg 430 years and begat sons and daughters. And Peleg lived 30 years and begat Reu. And Peleg lived after he begat Reu 209 years and begat sons and daughters. And Reu lived 230 years and begat Serug. And Reu lived after he begat Serug 207 years and begat sons and daughters. And Serug lived 30 years and begat Nahor. And Serug lived after he begat Nahor 200 years and begat sons and daughters. And Nahor lived 9 and 20 years and begat Terah And Nahor lived after he begat Terah. So and so and so and so. And then it says, and Terah lived 70 years and begat Abraham, Nahor, and Haran. So you see what's going on. Luke chapter 3, verse 34. Now I'm not going to read all the genealogy, but this is talking about the genealogy of Christ on Joseph's side, who was not his biological father. And there's a reason why he couldn't come to Atlanta, because of the curse that was put upon, I want to say, who was it? We did it so many times. We did a sermon like 2 or 3 times. I think it was Jehoiakim. Was it Jehoiakim? If I'm not mistaken. His descendants, that they couldn't sit on the throne after that because of what had happened. So Christ had to come through the lineage of Mary, and then even says that if God could have gave any other commandment, he would have gave another commandment. It had to be the way it was. It had to be done the way it was done. But going to Luke chapter 3, verse 34, we're going to also read verse 38. But it says, this is verse 34, which was the son of Jacob, which was the son of Isaac, which was the son of Abraham, which is the son of Terah, which is the son of Nahor. They just spelled it different. They spelled it Thara. And then it says, which was the son of Nahor, which they spell it Nachor. It just spelled differently. But no, he's not the same person. We can't say Jesus, because they ain't talking about the Jesus of the scriptures, even though back then it would have been said different. Then we go to verse number 38 in Luke chapter 3, which was the son of Enos, which was the son of Seth, which was the son of Adam, which was the son of God. Adam was the son of God. Tracing all the way down to these people. Tracing all the way down to Christ. And tracing up and down, because, you know, it starts and ends with Christ. Now, Daniel chapter 2, starting in verse 31. Thou, O king, sawest, and behold, a great image. This great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee, and the form thereof was terrible. This image's head was of fine gold, his breast and his arms of silver, his belly and thighs of brass, his legs of iron, his feet part of iron and part of clay. The clod breakers. Thou sawest till that a stone was cut out without hands, which smote the image upon his feet that were of iron and clay, and break them to pieces. So we know we haven't got to that point yet of this stone, which is symbolic of Christ, breaking the feet, which makes the whole thing fall. We know we have not reached that point yet, but we have led up to it because we just addressed the Chaldeans, and you see the iron, the clay. We addressed the Achaemenid, however you say, I forgot, Empire, the Seleucid Empire, which led to the Roman Empire. We've addressed all that, which is a part of this statue, right? This idol. Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and the gold broken to pieces together, and became like the shaft of the summer threshing floors, and the wind carried them away, that no place was found for them. The wind carried them away. We just read in, what was it, Peter, where it said they are clouds carried away with the wind, the storm. And the wind carried them away, that no place was found for them. And the stone that smote the image became a great mountain and filled the whole earth. This is the dream, and we will tell the interpretation thereof before the king. Thou, O king, art a king of kings, for the God of heaven hath given thee a kingdom, power, and strength, and glory. Who's just talking about? Nebuchadnezzar, the Chaldean, who comes from what lineage? Related to Abraham. Thou art this head of gold. After thee shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee. So every time it goes down, it becomes more and 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 more inferior. This final kingdom, that's the iron mixed with clay, is the most inferior kingdom there is out of all these kingdoms of this world. Going back to the kingdom of gold. And another third kingdom of brass, inferior, which shall bear rule over all the earth. And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron. So it's an inferior kingdom. Why? Because it's mixed. For as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things, as iron that breaketh all these, shall it break in pieces and bruise. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of clay and part of iron, meaning if it's a part of clay, there's a remnant left there, because we know that the Most High is the potter, right? The kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay, and as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave to one another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. It's a lot to deal with, unpack with that, but basically, this final kingdom, these gods, these demons, and everything that manifested in the flesh, and they mingle them seed, DNA manipulation, and so on and so on. We covered that. Y'all know that's what we do when we get down here. We talk about stuff like that. So you see what's going on, right? Now we jump down to Jeremiah 51 verses 7 through 11. Babylon have been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore the nations are mad. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her. Take balm for her pain. If so be she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go everyone into his own country. For her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the sky. That's why I tell them in this time period, Jacob's trouble, hey, when you see desolation of abomination of desolation, get up out of there. Run. The Lord hath brought forth our righteousness. Come, and let us declare in Zion the work of the Lord our God. Make bright the arrows, gather the shields. The Lord hath raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes. For his device is against Babylon to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of the Lord, the vengeance of his temple. And then we jump down, still in Jeremiah 51, we jump down to verses 19 through 28. The portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the former of all things, and Israel is the rod of his inheritance. The Lord of hosts is his name. Thou art my battle axe and weapons of war. Who is his weapons of war? Jacob, Israel. That would mean that, oh, that's right. Pretty simple. For with thee will I break in pieces the nations, and with thee will I destroy kingdoms. And with thee will I break in pieces the horse and its rider, and with thee will I break in pieces the chariot and its rider. With thee also will I break in pieces man and woman, and with thee will I break in pieces old and young, and with thee will I break in pieces young man and the maid, and I will also break in pieces with thee the shepherd and his flock, and with thee, and with thee will I break in pieces the husbandman and his yoke of oxen, and with thee will I break in pieces captains and rulers, and I will render unto Babylon and to all the inhabitants of Chaldea all the evil for that they have done in Zion in your sight, saith the Lord. Behold, I am against thee, O destroying mountain, saith the Lord, which destroys all the earth. And I will stretch out my hand upon thee, and roll thee down from the rocks, and I will make thee a burnt mountain. So God uses different people for different purposes in regards to weaponry. He said that he has an armory. We are a part of it. Even Satan is used as one of God's weapons. And they shall not take of thee a stone for a corner, nor a stone for foundations, but thou shalt be desolate forever, saith the Lord. Set ye up a standard in the land, blow the trumpet among the nations, prepare the nations against her, call together against her the kingdoms of Ararat, Mini, and Ashkenaz. Appoint a captain against her, cause the horses to come up as the rough caterpillars. Prepare against her the nations with the kings of the Medes, the captains thereof, and all the rulers thereof, and all the land of his dominion. So God is going to use the Medes in the end days to help destroy what we know as Mystery Babylon. Why the state of Israel cannot defeat Iran. I don't know. Maybe because the Bible says it and they're not the people. Luke chapter 21, verses 20 through 24. We got a few more. We'll get ready to close it out. And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, which I just said that a few minutes ago. And let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them which are in the countries enter thereinto. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. Come on, y'all. But woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. For there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. I thought y'all said this was the final captivity. Because this is talking about the future event. We just proved it. We've been proving it the whole sermon. But y'all saying, no, this is the final captivity. You know, if you are in Christ, it's your final captivity. But most of Israel is going into Jacob's trouble, which means they're going into captivity again. We ain't talking about this laid back captivity. We talking about some real live captivity. But look what else it says. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. What's happening right now? Jerusalem is being trodden down until the time of the Gentiles is fulfilled. Now, let's get a better understanding of that. Let me make sure I add this point. So even though these nations are distinct, you got the Medes, the Persians, and so on and so on, these are distinct nations. The Most High still sees them collectively as heathens. Even though you have Gentile nations, the Gentiles specifically, he still sees them collectively together as Gentiles, as heathens, because of their actions. Right? I'll make sure I clarify that. So you know we got Nebuchadnezzar, you know what I'm saying, the Chaldean, he still see, oh, you're a heathen. Oh, you rocking with them. So that's why you have the statue with Nebuchadnezzar at the head and then going down. And you know, you got the Gentile nations, because the Gentiles, they still were around. They weren't like involved until later on when they got real deep into it, because God drew them into it, you know, and they used their pride against them, stuff like that. And we covered sermons, you know, speaking about that. Which is why you see, he said he's going to use the, where's it at? Blow the trumpet among the nations, prepare the nations against her, against Babylon, mystery Babylon. Call together against her the kingdoms of Ararat, Mini, M-I-N-N-I, and Ashkenaz. You talking about the state of Israel, the people that are over there right now, who are predominantly Ashkenaz. Everybody plays a role. But I want to get a better understanding of where it says until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. We got to have a understanding of that. We're going to go to Romans chapter 11, verse 25. And then we're going to jump back to Romans 7 through 10. So let's read Romans 11, 25 first. For I would not, brethren, that ye should be ignorant of this mystery. So it's a mystery, but God reveals the mystery through his Spirit, which is the Spirit of power. Lest ye should be wise in your own conceits. The whole basis of it, right? These people are wise in their own conceits, which is why they can't see that Iran would not be defeated. Even if it looked like Iran is defeated, they still gonna come back, because they got to fulfill Bible prophecy. Oh, they defeated them, the great defeat to Iran. Okay, you think that's it? Well, that's one event. For I would not, brethren, that ye should be ignorant of this mystery, that ye should be wise in your own conceits. Lest ye should be wise in your own deceits. That blindness in part is happened to Israel, what? Until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in. What is this fullness of the Gentiles that's the Gentiles coming in? The Gentiles are going to be saved. It's a number that only God knows. I don't know, you don't know, of Gentiles that are saved throughout the entire history of mankind. Once you get those numbers, it's a wrap for the Gentiles. The door is basically closed. Then we read verses 7 through 10. What then? Israel hath not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election hath obtained it, and the rest were blinded. According as it is written, God had given them the spirit of slumber, eyes that they should not see, and ears that they should not hear, unto this day. And David saith, let their table be a snare and a trap and a stumbling block and a recompense unto them. Let their eyes be darkened, that they may not see, and bow down their back always. So this is what he's talking about, right? This is what he's talking about. Then we jump to Psalms 69 verses 18 through 28, so we can get a better understanding, because he mentions David. He mentions David. Draw nigh unto my soul and redeem it. Deliver me because of mine enemies, because his own people. This is what we seeing the whole time, right? His own people have become his enemies. Thou hast known my reproach and my shame and my dishonor. Mine adversaries are all before thee. Reproach hath broken my heart, and I am full of heaviness. And I looked for some to take pity, but there was none, and for comforters, but I found none. They gave me also gall for meat, because it's prophecy about Christ, right? And in my thirst they gave me vinegar to drink. Let their table become a snare before them, and that which should have been for their welfare, let it become a trap. Let their eyes be darkened, that they see not, and make their loins continually shake. Pour out thine indignation upon them, and let thy wrathful anger take hold of them. Let their habitation be desolate, and let none dwell in their tents. You know, what it speaks about when it comes to tents. For they persecute him for they persecute him whom thou hast smitten, and they talk to the grief of those whom thou hast wounded. Add iniquity unto their iniquity, and let them not come into thy righteousness. Let them be blotted out of the book of the living, and not be written with the righteous. Meaning, don't let them receive salvation. Somebody walking. So, now we go to Ezekiel chapter 12, verses 1 through 3. The word of the Lord also came unto me, saying, Son of man, thou dwellest in the midst of a rebellious house, which have what? Eyes to see, and see not. They have ears to hear, and hear not, for they are a rebellious house. Therefore, thou son of man, prepare the stuff for removing. See, God will remove you from your own people. He'll remove you, he'll separate you. Why you think, I told y'all, why y'all think I'm in Arkansas? It's deeper than real estate. I don't just be saying it just to say it. And remove by day in their sight, and thou shalt remove from thy place to another place in their sight. It may be they will consider, though they be a rebellious house. God allows certain things. He has to do certain things to serve as an example. Like, why are you going over there away from your people? Because God is separating me. God is separating you to be an example. Like, I'm separating my people, and next thing going to happen to you is judgment because y'all rebellious. So, yeah, I don't got to read that. That's the same thing. I'm going to read this and we'll close it out. 2 Corinthians chapter 3, verses 12 through 16. Seeing then that we have such hope, we use great plainness of speech, and not as Moses, which put a veil over his face, that the children of Israel could not steadfastly look to the end of that which is abolished, but their minds were blinded. For until this day remaineth the same veil untaken away in the reading of the Old Testament, which veil is done away in Christ. But even unto this day, when Moses is read, the veil is upon their heart. Nevertheless, when it shall turn to the Lord, the veil shall be taken away. They have wisdom, but they have not turned to the Lord. That's why they can't see. And now you're seeing the veil being removed because many Israelites are awakening, which tells you what? The time of the Gentiles is coming to an end. The time of the Gentiles, the number of Gentiles that are going to be saved being fulfilled. So Jerusalem is being trodden underfoot by the Gentiles, because all these nations over here, they're Gentile nations. Doesn't matter if they are from Japheth lineage, Ham's lineage, or even if they are of a Shemitic lineage. Even though God knows they're, to say, a Shemite, if they're acting like the Gentiles, God is saying you're a heathen, and you're gonna get the same judgment as the heathens who, by nature, they do wild stuff. That's what Romans says. And that goes back to Genesis, and what the name Japheth actually means. Well, God said, I'm going to enlarge Japheth. I'm going to deceive Japheth. And one of the deceptions is they think they're the people. So, can the state of Israel defeat Iran? No, because the kingdom of Satan is not divided. The kingdom, y'all think they fight against each other. Have you been around white people when they party? Like, I have. One of my homies, I call him my homie because we cool, regard to the flesh. He built this sawa right here, and he can talk. You know that word, garrulous? He can talk. But I let him talk because I'm different, man. I let people talk because a lot of times people don't really have people they can talk to. So even though I know a person is just talking, a lot of times I just let them talk because, they may not have anybody else to talk to, and I don't like to alienate anybody from anything. I at least like to give people opportunity, rather they are, what we call black or white. So he's telling me all his life stories. Like, he out here talking for like 2 hours. I can't even like really get a word in, but I'm listening. I'm like, oh yeah, for real. I'm not being rude or anything like that. And he was like, he told me some of the things that him and his family do, and I'm thinking to myself like, man, y'all crazy. But we know how white folks get down. He was like, yeah, we be hitting each other and we getting drunk, and y'all know how white folks party. Let's not play no games. So that's what I'm saying. How I'm not saying every white person like that, but come on now, let's not play no games. We ain't doing that. We trying to step in cool and stuff. Yeah, I gotta get fresh, boom boom. White folk, they like, look, we just throwing something on. We finna party. We finna get drunk. We finna fight. Like, we finna, whatever. They be out there fighting and everything. Next thing you know, they fighting. After they fighting, they drinking again and got their arm around each other. Get up, man, time to eat. Black folks ain't finna do all that. We fighting and we finna go home. Like, I'm finna find out I'm gonna take this nigga out. I'm finna get his girl, whatever. Let's just be real about it. So once we are real and we accept the truth and we speak in plain speech, then we can apply and we can see what the Bible is really telling us, and not get deceived by these people, rather it's a Gentile pastor or it's a Hebrew Israelite pastor, because there are so many deceivers out here leading people astray. I come on here plain speech. I break it down where you can understand it. You may not agree with how I say it, but guess what? I guarantee you get it. I'm speaking in plain. Oh, I get that. Yeah, I get that, brother. I understand that. You know what I'm saying? Does no good if I'm out here preaching and you don't understand it. So why the state of Israel cannot defeat Iran? Because the Bible told you so, basically. Those are the same people in the eyes of God, ultimately, collectively, we're going to say, like Psalm 33, that are all fighting together against the Most High. But we know who wins, because we already won. So with that being said, God bless each and every one of you in Jesus Christ's name. As always, stay focused for Jesus. As you know, the truth is not debated. It is declared. They keep on getting it wrong because they don't have the Spirit of God. They're going based on their wisdom. That's why they're blind. They can't see who Israel truly is, because if they accept who Israel truly is, we're talking about according to the flesh, their whole ministry is built upon them supporting the state of Israel. If you go look at these ministries, their ministries are built upon them accepting and preaching that's Israel. The state of Israel is Israel. If they go against that, that means the whole ministry is dead. That means all the money they got, all the sermons they've done is built upon a lie. They don't want to humble themselves. But God is going to humble them. Wait and see. I'm out. I love y'all.